I feel the need to, before we get started, I feel the need to apologize.
To whom?
To anyone who took me seriously.
About what?
About the production error in the last week's episode, because I was actually wrong.
Yeah,
I was actually totally wrong. It's actually, I looked at it again. I watched part 1 over again before I watched part 2, and I actually looked at it, and it was he is like I complained about him lifting up a panel and then walking on top of it. It actually is a smaller, different panel that's kind of off to the side.
I was correct.
You were correct, and I was mistaken.
Wow.
And so I feel
Turns
the need.
out I know panels.
You know panels. You are the panel king.
Well, I'm a panelist. I actually submitted my name to be a panelist at LI Who.
Really?
So we'll see if that happens.
Ooh, that'd be cool. I can picture you doing well on a panel because you like talking about Doctor Who, and I think that's like the primary thing that you need to be good at.
Yeah, and I have strong opinions.
Oh, absolutely. So how does that work? Like, do you just so you'd be part of a panel?
Yeah, so they just had a list on the website of, here's a bunch of panels that don't have panels. If there's anyone who's interested, let us know which panels you'd be interested in and what are your qualifications. And so I just said, here's a couple things I'm interested in. And they said, even if your qualifications are just that you're a big fan, then just let us know what they are. Because based on last year, and this may not be the case at some of the larger Doctor Who conventions, but I think this is actually getting to be one of the larger Doctor Who conventions because it seems to be growing quite a bit.
It sounds like it's growing quite a bit.
Yeah, but in any case, like last year, some of the people on the panelists were like people who had popular podcasts or people who had been involved. Like there was a comics panel, which is a few people who had been involved in different Doctor Who related comics over the years. But then some of them were just like, here's a panel about why we love the Third Doctor or whatever, and it's just like a bunch of fans who love the Third Doctor talking about it. So
yeah,
I don't remember if the Third Doctor was a topic, but there was like panels of that nature, like here's a particular topic.
Well, that's cool. I mean, so you signed up for like a specific panel with like a specific prompt or whatever? I
just said, here's like the 5 or 6 panels that I think I could be good at talking about, and I think the one I said, the one I'm most interested in was the Big Finish panel.
Oh, yeah.
And I said my qualifications are that I'm a big fan and I'm on a podcast.
Yeah,
which isn't much of a qualification because anyone could do this.
Yeah, just any Joe Schmo off the street walking into a library can click on the right buttons and make a podcast.
Almost by accident.
Yeah, you really don't have to try.
Yeah. That's not actually true. But
yeah, I would hope it would take, because otherwise, I wonder how many podcasts have been created by accident.
Like someone who thinks that they're talking to Siri, like they say, hey Siri, what's the weather like in Boston? And then without knowing it, that gets posted as a podcast.
Right. Yeah, they could be.
That's not actually a bad idea for a podcast. Like a podcast where you're pretending to be someone who's asking Siri questions. Yeah. I'm Tom Dickinson.
And I'm Louis Midas.
And this is The Cloister Room,
a podcast about Doctor Who and other things.
Before we jump into talking about the episode, did you hear the big news?
Is this...
There was more big news this week.
Is it that Christ died for our sins? No, that's the good news. No, yeah. Okay, no, I haven't heard it then.
About Big Finish.
No, what about Big Finish?
They announced War Doctor series.
Oh, wait, I have heard about that.
Yeah.
I forgot about... Yeah, that's going to be a thing.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. And it's usually, they announce things and it's like, a year down the line or something, but this is coming out in December.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So it's four box sets, each with 3 1-hour stories in it.
Wow.
Which is, I mean, most of the box sets they do tend to be 4 1-hour stories, but it could be that John Hurt's just extra expensive, so they can only afford to do it this way. But yeah, and then they're also doing a 5th box set, which is like a Paul McGann tie-in, where it's a prequel called, The 8th Doctor, The Time War.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. I don't know where it would fit into the schedule, but do you want to discuss it on the show prior to us ceasing the show?
Sure, yeah, we can figure that out.
Assuming it does indeed come out in December, because I know sometimes things move around in the schedule. But
yeah, we could definitely I definitely want to talk about it.
Yeah, because I honestly never thought it would happen.
Yeah, geez, I mean, like, and it's actually like John Hurt. Like, I mean, I can't believe it's actually John Hurt.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, obviously, well, yeah, like they wouldn't do it any other way, but I mean, like wow. And that's like the closest thing to like a new series Doctor. He basically is a new series Doctor.
Well, yeah, he is.
Yeah, so like, yeah, wow. But that's awesome.
Yeah, well, they've got a lot of like new Who stuff coming out in the next few months. I mean, they've got Unit, the Kate Stewart Unit series.
Oh yeah.
Coming out, very soon. I think it's next month. Yeah, and then so what do they got? They got Kate Stewart Unit. They got Jago and Lightfoot and Strax.
Oh, yeah.
They got the War Doctor, Series 1, Only the Monstrous, which is what it's called. Only the Monstrous.
Only the Monstrous.
Yeah, and then they got Series 1 of The Diary of River Song. They got The Churchill Years, which is something starring Winston Churchill for some reason. And it has young Kazran Sardik in it for some reason.
What? All right.
Yeah, so one of the things that Big Finish sometimes does is, in addition to their full cast audios, they'll have like sort of narrated audio book style things, where instead of like it being fully dramatized, it's like one character relating their adventures. So this Winston Churchill thing, the other ones like are full cast. Like the John Hurt one is full cast, the Unit one is full cast, the River Song one is full cast, but the Churchill I think is like him reminiscing about an adventure where there's like maybe 1 or 2 other actors involved. And I guess for whatever reason, the actor who played young Kazran Sardik in A Christmas Carol happened to be available or whatever. So they said, hey, why not?
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, wow, okay. That's interesting. I mean, like, yeah, it's Big Finish. I'm sure they can find a way to work him in.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
They've done crazier things. So that's 5 new series productions between now and January.
Yeah, wow.
So
that's awesome.
Before the Flood.
Before the Flood.
Last week on our show, I observed that you like you like talking about the TARDIS translation circuit.
I do.
I know you also like pointing out bootstrap paradoxes and saying, "Hey, that's a bootstrap paradox."
That's right. That's right.
So I felt like the Doctor was being you here because he did that.
He did do that. He did, and and yeah, he kind of stole my job a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how to feel about that. Well, no, I really liked it, but that's
that was a really weird scene.
That was a really weird scene.
It reminded me of Listen.
Yeah, it kind of was. Where the Doctor is taking time to explain something, to be educational a little bit. Well,
direct address to the camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't even think. Like in Listen, it was a little more subtle because he was supposedly talking to himself.
That's how I interpret it in Listen, but.
Right. But here, there's kind of no wiggle room unless he's, like, really, like, trying to address some invisible camera that, like, he really believes is there.
Well, yeah, I'm also wondering when this is supposedly happening.
Well, yeah, because this seems to be... Maybe this is, like, a dream that the Doctor is having. Maybe he has dreams where he is on camera and is, like, has his own educational TV show.
Well, he's referencing it. Like later in the episode, he references it.
He references what, the bootstrap paradox?
Well, the Beethoven thing.
Oh, the Beethoven thing. Yeah.
Which he says in the little in the pre-credits cold open.
Yeah.
He says that that's not actually a thing that happened. It's a hypothetical example he's come up with.
Right.
But then he references it to Clara. So I don't. Maybe it's just that while he's walking around in the real world, he's also got this constant like interior waking dream that's going on like under the surface where he's just pacing around the TARDIS explaining things?
That could very well be. Like maybe this is like because it's like dolphins and whales. Actually, I don't know about whales. I'm assuming
it's where they make Doctor Who.
Oh yeah,
whales.
Yeah, so they would know.
Yeah.
No, like they obviously can't sleep like we sleep. Like we can't.
That's not obvious to me.
Okay, well, so I don't know if you know.
I believe you, but
well, no,
I don't agree that it's obvious.
Okay, fair enough. No, like because dolphins or whatever, they're spending as far as I'm aware, they're spending 100% of their time in water. But they need to breathe, air like people do.
True.
So they can't just make like some sort of like seaweed hammock and like sleep in it. I'm assuming, unless they do, that would be adorable. But anyway, so that as I understand it, they put half of their brain to sleep, and like they kind of like they're still kind of like swimming and like breathing, which are the important things. But they're also like sleeping, kinda. At least this is what I've been led to believe, and I could be totally mistaken, and I might have to retract this in next week's episode. But as I understand it, that's how that works. So maybe what I'm saying is that the Doctor's brain works a little bit like a dolphin, where like maybe this is a Time Lord thing. Maybe this is just what he's gotten used to doing because he's always saving the day, and he really doesn't have time to sleep. Maybe this is one half of his brain dreaming about explaining things in the TARDIS, which just is kind of like this nap for him. Could be. I mean, that's the only explanation I can think of.
Or maybe after the Doctor, traps the ghosts in the Faraday cage, and then after the TARDIS reappears, the Doctor, but before the next scene where we see the Doctor wiping everyone's memories with the glasses, the Doctor just says, "Hold on a minute," and then goes into the TARDIS, and then paces around talking to an unseen camera, and then walks back out of the TARDIS and is like, "Okay, now we're ready."
It could be. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't be possible.
That's the only place I can think of where it would go.
Right. Unless... Okay, wait, hang on now. Maybe the Doctor came up with this sort of little speech in his head, and he was kind of thinking about it and kind of like, sort of like mentally rehearsing it. But he didn't actually do any of this. But like what happens is like the last scene is, the Doctor making that reference, where he's saying like, who actually composed Beethoven's Fifth or whatever. And then he says that to Clara, and Clara like stares at him like he's an idiot, and she just has no idea what he's talking about. And then he's like, "Oh right, I haven't actually done that yet." And then he spins into it. And so it's not actually him breaking the fourth wall. He's actually talking to Clara, who just happens to be like behind the camera, basically.
She's the camera point of view.
She's the camera point of view.
She's like walking backwards.
Yes, exactly. She's apparently very talented at that.
Or maybe it's his vlog.
Oh, it could be.
Because it's kind of like a vlog.
It is a bit like a vlog.
Yeah. So maybe he just has his vlog where he just explains time travel concepts.
You think we could go on to like YouTube, or would he use like a Vimeo?
He seems more Vimeo. Yeah.
So like you can go on and find Doctor Who discusses time travel. You can find those on Vimeo if you just search.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the Doctor, who discusses time travel, but you can't put punctuations in your username. So so it's
gotta be. yeah. So I think that's how it goes. I think I think the vlog explanation really makes the most sense. I think it's gotta be.
Yeah. Did you also notice the clockwork squirrel?
Was there an actual clockwork squirrel somewhere?
It was sitting right on top of the guitar amp.
I didn't see that. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it for a third time.
Yeah, the guitar amp, by the way, is Magpie Electrical.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
So we're still referencing this season 2 episode, The Idiot's Lantern.
Yeah, it still lives on
in our hearts.
Yes, even if people maybe weren't so wild about it when it aired, it is still living on today, and it has had. So do you suppose this is the most? Do you think we can call it the most influential Doctor Who episode?
Probably. I mean, because not only are they here in like the what is this, the 22nd century?
Yeah.
But they're like also like on the Starship UK and the Beast Below. This Magpie Electrical stuff. Like,
that's right.
Watching that episode, you wouldn't think, hey, this grubby little morally bankrupt TV manufacturer is going to be the longest running electronics brand ever.
Yeah, they must be they really must be like a mainstay, like this giant. I would love for them to to turn out to be like some kind of villain, like have it be in like the, I don't know, the 25th century or whatever, I don't know what, or the 51st century maybe, who knows. Have it be like Magpie Megacorp or something, and have it be like this evil conglomerate. I would love for that.
Could be led by The Wire.
It could be, Yeah, because that's the thing is, the Wire's schemes were never really seen through all the way. I think who knows? I think the Wire could come back. Sure. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you like the guitar stuff, by the way?
I did. I thought that was really, really, really funny and cute.
Yeah, it was. I've heard a rumor, as yet unconfirmed, that Capaldi's actually playing over the theme, like Capaldi himself.
Well, we're right, because he used to be in some kind of band. Right?
Yeah, with Craig Ferguson.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So
he's clearly actually playing, the Beethoven stuff.
Right.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they do a close up on his fingers, so they wouldn't be able to get away with cheating on that.
Right, unless it was the stand-in.
Oh, true. Could be stunt double.
Yeah, and like some kind of elderly musician stunt double. I like the thought of him actually playing it, though. That's really cool. Yeah, so many talents.
Mm-hmm.
God, I really hope he sticks around.
I do too. I also, speaking of talent, I do want to see him direct, because he is an Academy Award-winning director.
Oh, hey, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that would be really cool.
Did you like the episode?
I really did.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah. I don't know if it was like, oh man, like so much was built up in the first part, and I think it was mostly paid off. Like I think it lived up to it, the first part for the most part. But that's really saying something, because the first part really set it up all so very well.
Yeah, and it was like a very different second part than the first part.
That's right.
It's just like a different setting, a different style, a different tone. But yeah, I thought it held up really well. It was a good conclusion. One of my favorite things in Doctor Who is always when the Doctor solves the problem not by use of some knowledge that he has that the viewer has no ability to know, or some ability that he has that the viewer didn't previously know about, or couldn't have anticipated, or that he has any crazy random thing out of thin air like that, but instead that he, looks around at the science fictional concepts in the episode, understands them, and then uses them to solve the problem in a way the audience could have if they were clever.
Right.
I always love it when that happens, because I think it's more fun that way, and it gives you a real sense that, oh, the Doctor actually just did something really clever. And I think this whole solution that he did here was basically that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, and it was, and in retrospect, it's obviously, it's incredibly obvious, because he leads by saying, oh, he leads by giving a primer about bootstrap paradoxes. But really, that's the thing, is everything you saw, all the clues, that's the thing, is all the mysteries that were set up in the first part turned out to just be, oh, it was the Doctor, for the most part. I mean, depending. But, some of it was the Fisher King, but, why was that power cell missing or whatever? That was, it turns out, oh, that was the Doctor. He used it to blow up the dam and defeat the monster. That's the other thing, is that it's so cool that the whole the mystery of oh, why is this happening? What evil force is causing these ghosts to want to kill us? That's already solved, basically. The monster is already dealt with in the first part, but you don't know that, and it's just all these different pieces turn out what I like is that you get answers to all these questions that were posed in the first part, and it's just so interesting to see them actually play out, and it I don't know, it was such a cool, it's just such a cool thing to watch, where it's oh yeah, okay, this is why that the future is like that. I just love that.
Yeah, it does unfortunately leave Clara in the position of having nothing to do.
Yeah, that's true.
Because essentially everything that has to happen in the present day happened last week, and they're just kind of marking time and trying not to die until the Doctor shows up to finish off the whole plan.
Yeah, that's true. She really doesn't. She just her contact with the Doctor in the past allows him to put all the pieces together, and that's the only purpose she really serves.
Yeah, she just passes the info along.
Yeah. She's just like a vehicle. Mm-hmm. She's not making any crucial life-saving decisions, really, or anything like that.
No. Although I did like the scenes with her and Cass.
Yeah.
I thought those were good, and I did enjoy the kind of like, running from the monsters stuff they did there.
Yeah.
Bit of a recap from last week, but I do think it kind of I did think it was just as effective here as it was there.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Fisher King?
I mean, like, that's a reference I don't get because I never actually...
Something to do with Arthurian mythology.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know much about it either.
I don't know, like, and I don't think, like, the limited thing I know, I don't think it's like, I don't think this Fisher King is like an analog to that Fisher King. Because I don't think...
I have no idea.
I don't know. I thought the whole thing... I don't know. I don't really know much. I thought it was... And someone can probably correct me.
Probably. You're probably wrong.
Yeah, I think... I don't even have to say the thing I was going to say. I know I'm wrong. I thought it was like... I thought it was something to do with, like, his kingdom was, like, crumbling or something, and he was just, like, kind of, like, not capable of being a leader or something. I don't know. Something to do with maybe impotence or something. I don't know. But in any case, so I don't see the analog if there was one. So I don't know. How did he get the name?
I don't know.
That's what I want to know.
He's just a guy who really likes fishing.
Oh wait, is it? I didn't watch this with subtitles on or anything. Is it? Are we sure it's not Fissure?
Yeah, it's Fisher like Fisher.
That's too bad.
Sorry.
Because I'd like... All right, well, never mind about that theory.
He was voiced by Peter Serafinowicz.
Who's that again?
Darth Maul.
Oh!
Darth Maul's voice. Not Darth Maul's body, but Darth Maul's voice. Also, like, a comedian guy who was in, like, Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, right.
And Look Around You, actually, was in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. God, I love Look Around You.
Oh, yeah. That's the best. Okay. Interesting. It was
Bless you, Ants. Blance. Yeah, anyhow.
Yeah, okay. Wow, I couldn't tell. I mean, I don't know.
It was just his voice.
Okay, well. Yeah, he didn't sound like Darth Maul.
No, not really, no. But he, I don't know. I just liked the way he looked.
He did look very good.
The thing about it is, it's like, it's a guy in a rubber suit. And it's like, that's what it's supposed to be in Doctor Who.
It's
just a guy in a rubber suit, and they don't shy away from... like a guy in a rubber suit. They don't supplement it with CG like they did with the Slovene. Oh, yeah. They don't try to fake you out. They're like, nope, this is a guy in a rubber suit and it's awesome, so deal with it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, you actually see, like, I don't generally have the detachment to pay attention to things like shot composition, but there's like one scene where the Fisher King like walks out of, I don't know, whatever building he was in, and just kind of like strides over to the hearse ship or whatever, and they don't like angle it so that you only see parts of him or whatever. He's in like full view as he's just walking across the lawn. There's no, I mean, like, you can see it's a guy, obviously. Full
view, broad daylight.
Yeah.
This is a man in a rubber suit, and we are proud.
We are owning this. Like, no, that was, I have to say that was a bold choice. So, I like that's the thing. It's like you don't want to pull your punches. You want to like go full throttle or whatever. You know what? It's a guy in a rubber suit.
Yeah, and I feel like Doctor Who, the new series specifically, has kind of shied away from that. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, if you look at the Silurians, like the Silurians in the new series are just like humans with like a layer of like makeup on them, whereas the Silurians in the classic series are genuinely alien, like rubber suit guys.
That's right.
So in an obvious technical sense, like the new ones look better, but they look less alien. They look more like, oh, it's just like a human with some stuff on them.
Right.
So I have felt that over the past couple of years, especially in the Capaldi era, Doctor Who has seemed to me like a little bit more comfortable in what it is. Mm-hmm. Like it's a bit more just like, this is Doctor Who, just take it as it is. There you go.
Yeah.
Instead of like trying to cheat around it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I appreciate that. I appreciate that honesty. like I don't want to be lied to. I mean, like, this is obviously all fiction, but I don't want to be lied to, like in the sense of like putting on like, I don't know, like a sense that like, oh, we're better than we really are.
Right.
Like I want it to be genuine. And I feel like that this really lived up to that, where it's just, you know what? Yeah. This is what we're giving you, and you can take it or leave it. We don't care. And I they probably care a little bit. But, you know, but I like that. I do like that. But it's nice to see Doctor Who this comfortable. Mm-hmm. You know, it's nice.
Another thing I'm glad they didn't do is have the Doctor say, "Oh, the Fisher King of Gallifreyan mythology."
Yeah.
I'm so glad that didn't happen.
Right. Yeah. Like I don't need more of that. I don't need more layers to Gallifreyan myth. Like I don't really. And that's the thing is like, okay, so it's meaningful to the Doctor in a way that the audience is not supposed to understand, like could not possibly understand. That doesn't really benefit us in any real way.
No, it's just like a cheap thing to make it seem like it's more important than it is. Like, you're too lazy to actually make a good monster, so you just say, "Ooh, this is a big, important, good monster," like as dialogue. This is good. This is important. This is an icon.
Enjoy this, viewer.
Yeah. So I thought this worked on its own merits, and I really he's just a good creepy villain. So
yeah, well, and I do like them bringing back the Vitoli. Was it Vitoli? Tivoli. I knew I was gonna like spoonerize that or whatever. I like bringing those guys back. I think that. Like I think it like sort of makes it richer that like, oh, this is just one of the many warlords that oppressed them over the years. Like I'm alright with, like, that's a cool. It just makes the universe feel a little bit richer. That like, oh yeah, here we are again with these guys. Kind of a coincidence that the Doctor should run into them again, but whatever. You know, this is just one of the many oppressors.
Yeah,
and we get to see what they're afraid of and like what their oppressors are like, and that's kind of neat.
Yeah, this is it kind of reminds me of the Russell T Davies era, where it was like, you know, every so often it's the Slovene, or this one's not from Raxacoric of Albatorius, it's from their twin planet, like, and so everything's kind of interconnected. Mm-hmm. There's no real reason for it to be the same alien, like it could have been any alien, but it was this one, so, and that I did like that.
Yeah, I think it's because and the thing is, like, I'm still interested by this species. Like, I still find them fascinating, and like, because it's such an interesting concept that, like, well, I mean, statistically speaking, there would be a most invaded planet of the cosmos.
Yeah,
and you know, I'm actually kind of surprised it's not Earth. But I mean, like, and I guess like this could be a glimpse of what it would be like if Earth were the most invaded planet. Although I feel like humans are probably evolutionarily evolved along different lines where we probably wouldn't surrender so easily. Although, you know, with enough repetition, maybe we would evolve to be like these mole people.
Well, no, because we have the Doctor saving us.
That's right. He's screwing up evolution.
Exactly. The selection pressure to surrender just doesn't ever like take hold.
Yeah, like I mean, like on the one hand, the Doctor kind of looks down his nose at these people, but I mean, like, if he had been there saving them, maybe they wouldn't be this way.
Right.
You know, this is really his fault.
Exactly.
But yeah, you know, that's the thing. But like, I'm just so fascinated by the idea of like a species that just like has like a different brain process where they just like, that's one of their things, is they just surrender. Like, that's just their first impulse. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, that doesn't really make much sense evolving, but you know, whatever. Maybe, and that's the thing, maybe there's just like, I don't know how that could work with evolution, but maybe if there was just like a ton of them where like maybe they breed really quickly, so like they can surrender, like a predator can come and kill them and it's fine because they just, like, a dozen of them pop back up again. I don't know how that, I'm trying to figure this. I am not like a biologist or anything, so I don't know how this would work. But it's fascinating to me. And it's also just fascinating to me because like I like civilizations that have like vastly different priorities than the human race.
Right.
Because like that's more alien to me. Because like, you know, all right, if they all have the same sort of like spirit of adventure or like kind of arrogance or whatever you want to say the primary traits of humanity are, if all other alien species kind of have those same traits, then it's really just like they're really just kind of like more humans. But like this is like a truly alien species in the like I can't even relate to them, and that's cool. I like that.
I mean, because why would you?
Right, exactly.
They're alien.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I like that. I don't know, but yeah, so I like seeing them again, and I like seeing like what they're up against, kind of, and it does sort of like provide more depth to the universe. That's cool. But yeah, so the Fisher King's plan is basically he wants to find a new planet to conquer. Like I'm assuming he like faked his death somehow.
Well, I just assume that he
or he operates on a different biological mechanic.
Well, yeah, so that he was in like a death-like state.
Yeah. And
so they transported him to Earth, and he had just woken up and was like, well, this isn't good. So he tries to make the best of it.
Right.
And that's what I assumed he was doing.
Oh, I see. So this is like the premise of Gilligan's Island.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
This was supposed to be a 3-hour tour.
Exactly, but he winds up on a distant island.
Right, with it's this backwater planet.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to make the best of things.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah. So he sets up his psychic message, and then his plan was to.
I like when the doctor asks Prentice if it's a special pen.
Right. Yeah. Like.
I don't know how he does it, but maybe it is a special pen. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is right? We don't get any answers to that because the doctor's like spouting all these theories on what it is, and he wants to take the batteries out. And Prentice has no idea what he's talking about, but that's because Prentice didn't do it. So
right.
Yeah, maybe it could very well be just some kind of special pen. We don't know. Maybe the doctor really could have taken the batteries out. But yeah, so we don't really get like an answer on like how that works, but I mean like it does. Like we can just assume it does.
Yeah, we knew basically what it was doing. Like it was implanting something in their brains that resonated after death or whatever.
So yeah, I'm fine with that.
I am as well.
Yeah, so I thought that was like pretty well explained and established and everything. I mean, like that's really the thing is like we didn't know. That was really like the big question was we sort of knew how this was working and what it was doing. We didn't know who was behind it, and so we sort of found that out here. And yeah, so I guess so he just was. So once his psychic signal would have been strong enough, then that would have brought an armada, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would have obviously had no difficulty conquering Earth. I'm assuming because they've got alien tech or whatever.
That's usually the way things go.
Yeah, it looks pretty advanced. I mean, like I'm sure that if that armada had shown up, I'm sure the doctor would have found some way to stop it. But it would have been a whole big thing, and it's just easier to nip it in the bud here. But
even before the armada showed up, the ghosts would have like wreaked havoc anyway.
That's true. We can't have that. Actually, yeah, maybe. Yeah, geez, you don't even need an armada. Just, like, have, like, ghosts just kill everybody.
You need a lift at the very least.
Sorry?
You need a way off planet.
Oh, right. Well, they gotta have, like, teleporters or something, right?
Well, maybe.
I don't know, maybe,
Take over the hearse.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. They make enough ghosts. Conceivably, it would be a little difficult to, like, get everyone to read the writing. But if they just kept spreading and making more ghosts, they could have a planet full of ghosts. And then presumably when the people who would hear the message got there, they would know not to read the writing, I'm assuming. And so they would be...
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be protocol for this, right? Like, if the Fisher King... Like, this is probably, like in the manual, like, the second in command of the Fisher King must know that, like, okay, if Fisher King dies, he's going to leave some writing... Or Fake dies, he's going to leave some writing wherever he winds up. This is I gotta believe that there's some kind of they've got to have this stuff mapped out somewhere, right?
Probably.
I would hope so. It seems like it could be a real problem if he didn't have that foresight.
Yeah.
You'd think that or there should have been like a fifth symbol he scratched on the wall that like says like, oh, by the way, delete this message once. Or by the way, don't read any writing once you find this place.
That's a really hard symbol, I imagine.
It might take some time.
I don't know if it's one symbol.
Yeah, might be like it might have to be like an emoji where it takes like two ASCII codes combined or something. I forget how that works exactly, but yeah, I think it's an emoji.
Probably, yeah.
I think it's the like the monkey covering its eyes. I think that's the emoji. That's an emoji, right? Did I make that up?
Maybe. Now that you're mentioning emoji, like I'm just realizing like how prescient the end of the world was. Like 5.5 / Apple / 6.
Oh yeah.
That was just nonsense at the time, and now it makes sense.
That's right. We've got an Apple emoji.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So at some point in the future, we're going to switch to a dating system that involves emoji. That makes so much sense.
That was completely implausible when it was made, but just 10 years later,
oh man,
it's basically real.
It is. Oh my god. It makes so much sense.
Like I don't think you can use emojis in URLs.
But that's got to be around the corner.
Oh, that's coming. I'm sure it is.
Yeah. You gotta like. Oh man, I can't wait to register a domain name that's just like, I don't even know, like
.smiling pile of poo.
Yes, that is going weird. I cannot wait for this future. I cannot wait for it to get here. Yeah, that's the thing is emoji are going to just be so embedded in the collective psyche of humanity. It's just going to start making sense. It's just going to start making sense for efficiency's sake to incorporating them into our years.
Yeah, I mean, because once you get to really high numbers, I mean, you might as well.
That's right. They all become meaningless anyway. Oh man, it just makes so much sense.
What do you think of like the Doctor's pseudo companions?
They seemed you're talking about the two people from the base who came with them.
Yeah, O'Donnell and Bennett, is it?
Bennett, yes, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're it's funny seeing how much of a fan O'Donnell is. I think that's kind of fun.
Oh, if you're a fan, you're gonna die.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you got the mark of death on you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's O'Donnell or Osgood,
yeah,
or Clive from Rose,
oh yeah,
or the people from Linda, or the guy who was a fan of the Psychic Circus.
Oh yeah, that poor guy.
Yeah, fans just do not do well in Doctor Who.
They just don't.
The best way to survive is to just not be interested.
That's right. Yeah, just to be cold and unemotional.
Yeah.
That's what it's got to be. Yeah. I don't know. And that's the thing is like, well, yeah, and that's the way you do it too. Because I was like actually a little bit sad that O'Donnell died because I was like,
I was legitimately sad. I think this is the first time in a very long time where I was actually legitimately sad about a character who was introduced in the same story dying.
Yeah. That's true.
Like, I can't even think of the last time.
Well, right, yeah, because I mean, like because you always figure that like some of them are gonna die, and it ends up happening and just becomes this sort of thing. Like, okay, well, yeah, here's another one. But I've never really gotten that attached to a companion. I mean, like, I would have been really sad if Shona had died in the Christmas special.
Oh yeah.
Like if she had died, I would have been really sad. But like, but yeah, no, like that's the thing is, yeah, like the people who do die tend to not be ones that I'm like actually disappointed about or like actually like sad over.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of some examples, and I'm like, the people in Linda didn't deserve to die, and that was sad.
Yeah.
And like, I'm remembering like the Satan Pit, Jefferson, the older guy, died.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish he didn't have to die. But like, I'm just trying to think. I think one of the things is that like the Moffat era has not been as good with like incidental characters.
Yeah, that's true.
Partially because Moffat's writing style is much more insular and focused on like the main characters.
Yeah.
Which is why like basically the only characters in like the Witch's Familiar, for instance, are like the Dr. Clara, Missy, and Davros.
Oh yeah.
And then there's basically no one else in the episode. I don't know, but I thought this was a really good like when the episode began and like the Doctor was out of the TARDIS with Bennett and O'Donnell, I was like, oh, these guys, like, and I remembered like, oh, I was really looking forward to finding out about the 4 surviving characters from last week, to seeing more of them because I had just enjoyed them so much, and so I was like looking forward to what was next for them as much as for the Doctor and Clara.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt to me like, oh, it's like we're seeing Capaldi with different companions here, because he like steps out of the TARDIS with them.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is actually kind of this would be a good dynamic. Like I can imagine these 3 traveling together and how fun that would be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing is like this is like basically like the first. You could have a version of this story where this is like their first adventure together.
Yep, Clara dies and then they go off together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's like, and that could be the thing. And like, yeah, so you could totally see that. Like, and they do. They go through all the basics. Like, oh, it's bigger on the inside. Oh, we moved in time and space, and they go through all that, and Bennett throws up. Which that's kind of endearing. I mean, but yeah. So it's like, they are like they're actual companions for the episode, and I was happy with them, and like I could, that's the thing is you really could see them being actual companions. But yeah, and then O'Donnell had to go and die, and that was sad. Well, yeah, that's the thing is like, yeah, this episode really hammers home the whole idea of like, yeah, like, the doctor really does put other people's lives in danger and, stuff like that. And, it doesn't really like, I mean, like, this doesn't really do anything to like, I mean, like maybe it's like affected the doctor on some level, although, it's difficult to say really. But yeah, like that's the thing is, like this is the thing that like happens with the doctor's companions is they all want to like be the best for him. And so then stuff like this happens.
Yeah, and there was nothing he could have done,
right?
Because like presuming his theory was correct and she was the next to die. Mm-hmm. I mean, if that was true, then if it was false, then there was no reason to think she was in danger. But if it was true, then there was nothing he could have done. So
right.
I mean, he would have felt completely boxed in, and he just makes that attempt to like, oh, you should stay here,
mm-hmm.
and she says like, oh, there's no way that's gonna happen,
mm-hmm.
and he just gives up immediately.
Yeah,
but it's like. Well, what else was there?
Well, right. Well, like, yeah, and he thinks he's trying to... Initially, he thinks he's trying to go against destiny or whatever, like, because he thinks, like, oh, if he's, if he can somehow prevent his death, then, that'll shift things. And then he seems to resign himself to it, although he knows on some level, or he knows at some point, he figures out that, like, oh, he doesn't really die.
Right.
And so it's one of those things again where it's like we saw the future, but it wasn't quite what we thought it was going to be.
Right.
Which is what always happens when the doctor supposedly dies.
Yeah, that's like the one aspect of this story that I'm just not on board with. Like I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
And but it's fine. It worked out fine, and I did like the solution to it. But
well, yeah. I mean, like, that's the thing is, once again, it was one of those things where you could have seen coming had you thought ahead enough or, thought about it. Because, it's the same mechanic of, like, the Clara hologram that trapped the ghosts in the Faraday cage initially. It's just using that hologram technology in the sonic glasses again for a different purpose. Or for a slightly different purpose.
It honestly never occurred to me, though.
No, it never occurred to me either. I completely forgot that it could do that. Like after that scene ended, and so yeah, so I mean, it was one of those things where like I could have thought of it if I had thought of it, but I didn't think of it. So,
and that is what I like most about the stories like this. Like, if only we had been smarter, we could have come up with the solution that the doctor used.
Right. If only.
Yeah, and if the hologram thing hadn't been established, mm-hmm. then it would just kind of feel cheap.
Yeah.
But because it was established that it could do that, like, yeah.
Well, right, and he even says, I don't know how much sense it makes, like, it has to be connected to the Wi-Fi, but he even says, like, oh, it was when it only kicked in once you brought the sonic glasses in the stasis chamber back on board, because then it connected to the Wi-Fi, and that's when it started. And so I guess that makes sense, sure. I mean, I don't know what Wi-Fi has to do with it, but apparently you need to connect.
The Wi-Fi, the presumably the base is the base itself is generating the hologram, presumably.
Oh, okay.
So the sonic glasses need to send that instruction.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so the sonic glasses themselves just have the images of the Doctor and Clara and the few basic phrases, and then it just like says, "All right, please display this base Wi-Fi," and then the base does it. Stands to reason.
Speaking of which, I mean, in that scene, the doctor says something about, oh, the base is Wi-Fi. I was watching this on iTunes, and I was watching it with closed captions, and the closed captions were just riddled with errors.
Oh, really?
Like, he kept saying, like, the basis Wi-Fi, like, oh, you're connected to the basis Wi-Fi.
Huh.
And it said there were a number of other errors too. Like at one point, the doctor referred to the church, but the caption said the judge.
So even
he's heading towards the judge.
So even the subtitles can't understand Capaldi.
No, and like during like Clara repeats the 4 words of the instructions, and the first one is the dark, and it says the doc, like capital DOC. What was the other one that I noticed? Oh yeah, the Fisher King, like when he realizes the doctor lied, he says the Time Lord lied, but the caption says the Time Lord period night period. And I was just thinking, like, Doctor Who is like probably one of iTunes' top 10 shows right now. And it's got this, this episode which, prominently features a deaf character. I mean, and there are people who are deaf or hard of hearing who are watching this and relying on iTunes to caption it so that they can understand it. And I'm sure these problems are not unique to Doctor Who, and I imagine that people who rely on these captions are used to seeing them riddled with errors. But it's just kind of disappointing that, like, oh, this episode with a major character who's hard of hearing, like someone who's watching it is going to have to like suffer through these really crappy captioning jobs. I just thought it was kind of disheartening.
Yeah, that's actually really weird because I did not watch this episode at all with subtitles on, which is a little bit unusual for me. But I've never noticed any errors that glaring in the past. I'm interested to know because I purchased this on Xbox Video, and I kind of wonder. I mean, is it? Surely they all get the same subtitles, right? Like that data must all be the same, right?
I don't know. I mean, like I too have never really noticed it this bad. I've seen errors before, and I've seen like paraphrasings too.
Oh, really?
Sometimes if a character's talking really fast, like they say something like they'll say something like, "Didn't you realize, that you didn't have to go there?" or something like that. It will just say it as, you didn't have to go there. Or something like it'll paraphrase it to, or just make it so that you can fit more on the screen.
Right.
But these were just out and out mistakes. They were just completely wrong.
Wow, someone was really phoning it in at the subtitle office.
Well, and I know actually one of the things that happened last year is they sent out scripts for international translation.
Right.
And that was how it leaked.
Right.
So I don't know if they were more strict in, the people who iTunes wasn't given proper access to the script or whatever they usually get from people. I don't know.
They're using the Google Voice transcribing service now.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Well, you'd think that in this day and age, it wouldn't be that difficult to, I don't know, disseminate the proper data. And you'd also think that it would be the responsibility of the broadcaster to provide like a working or like a complete transcript. I mean,
because I imagine like the BBC is doing it for their own captioning,
right?
Like, and yeah.
Do those two departments not talk to each other? Like, I mean, come on.
I don't know. I mean, well, that's how we have missing episodes. That BBC proper and BBC Worldwide just weren't talking to one another.
Yeah, it was like this comedy moment, or this like O. Henry kind of thing. Where it's like, I thought you were keeping the copies of the Doctor Who, of the second and first Doctor eras.
Oh, that's another bit of news that came out this week.
Oh, really?
Relating to missing episodes.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah. The couple years ago they found Enemy of the World and Web of Fear, but Web of Fear was missing an episode.
Oh, right.
Phil Morris who is responsible for the recoveries, has now like come out and said that when he found those film canisters, the missing episode of the Web of Fear was part of the find.
Oh.
And he personally verified it. Like he personally like held it, and when it was delivered, when the film was supposed to be delivered to him, it was missing from the shipment. What? And someone from the TV station that had been holding it at the time must have stolen it or sold it off or something.
What?
Because news got out that missing Doctor Who episodes were like of interest to the BBC, and it was like a big deal.
Huh.
So
Wow.
That is what he claims.
That is like a huge. That's like a huge thing. Like that's like, I mean, speaking like I don't know much about crime or theft or whatever, but that seems like that item would be too hot to sell. like you'd have like, well, I guess there's not really like any government agency that actually cares about stolen Doctor Who episodes. But it's not like it's like a Monet or something, I guess. But well, I mean, I guess it depends on who you ask. But it seems like that would be like I mean, if that shows up on like eBay or something, you know, you're gonna have a lot of people coming down on that.
Yeah, and I think that might be the very first episode featuring the Brigadier.
Really?
I know that's his first story.
Oh, wow.
But I think that might be the first episode with him in it. I don't remember exactly. So I have to. If that's the case, then I have to presume that whoever stole it, you know, deliberately picked that one and knew what they were taking.
You think they were either a fan or they like called up a fan and had them on like their cell phone or whatever and was like saying like, okay, well, I got these. Which one should I take?
Something like that.
Yeah, this seems. Yeah, that's suspicious to me. Yeah, well, that's really disappointing though, because like, okay, so you steal this and what? You try and sell it? Like, presumably, like you already have a buyer lined up or whatever.
Presumably,
right, and then like that buyer obviously pays a ton of money, probably. But then like, what kind of asshole doesn't like share it after that? I mean, like, okay, you have the original or whatever, but like, can you like copy it or something and send it? Send it anonymously to the BBC. Just, it doesn't even have to be a great copy. You can maybe put like a little watermark on it.
But then what they have is less special.
But it's still the original though, or well, as original as you get.
Yeah, but it's just the original of an episode of Doctor Who. It's no longer the original of a missing episode.
I guess it takes a special kind of asshole.
Yeah. All right. Because, I mean, assuming that this story is true, that episode is out there somewhere.
Well, right, that's
unless someone bought it just to burn it.
Which could be... Oh, you think it was Mary Whitehouse?
Oh, yes.
Or is she still with us? I mean,
no.
It could be... Okay, the estate of Mary Whitehouse?
Yeah.
On her behalf.
Just as like a... as a way to like a ritual to like defeat violence in Doctor Who. They get the first episode containing, you know, its popular soldier character.
This is all coming together. I think this makes sense now. It's just got to be it.
And I mean, which also raises the question, you know, if there's someone out there who bought this up in secret, do they have more?
That's
like,
right.
If there's an episode hoarder,
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, like they're probably this is probably just them like chasing that dragon. You know, they stole one missing episode and now they gotta like just deepen their collection or whatever.
Yeah, well maybe they've got a bunch already.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Maybe they've got them all.
Yeah.
Maybe this was the last one.
This is like the Fermi paradox. This is it's because you know when you know this you know.
Is this going to be your new pet paradox?
Yes. Yeah. No. That's the thing is, you know.
No, the bootstraps are too mainstream. Let's go with Fermi.
Yeah. I got it. At my heart, I'm a paradox hipster.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. So that's the thing is, you know, the planet should be teeming with Doctor Who episodes. They should just be out there. Like missing Doctor Who episodes should be under like every rock and every inside every tree or whatever. Yeah. But because they're not, something must be collecting them up, and like and storing them and hiding them away.
This sounds like the plot of a Doctor Who episode.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it stands to
like
reason.
I can imagine Capaldi pacing around the TARDIS and monologuing to the camera about how
You'd expect to find them everywhere. Yeah,
like Marco Polo was one of the most widely sold serials of the first season.
Yeah,
and yet it's entirely missing.
Yeah,
seems kind of unlikely.
I think so. I think there's someone behind this. So yeah, we need to find this person and steal back their Doctor Who collection.
Yeah, we sure do.
Yeah. See, this is what Time Heist should have been about, because that would have been a heist worth that would have been the heist to end all heists, and it would have been about time, kind of.
Yeah.
Work it in. Yeah. So there's got to be someone, and that's the thing. Like, who do you show that collection to? Like, because it's got to be like, obviously it's valuable, but like a non-fan wouldn't understand its value. or I guess they could be explained. Its value could be explained to them, maybe. But I mean, like,
well, if they're like a film collector or something that likes to collect rare films, and they may have gone like, oh, do any of these like have the first appearance of anything in them? Because they know, Doctor Who is old, it's from the 60s, and that it's still got some of its iconic stuff in it. So like, oh, is there anything big that appeared in one of these episodes for the first time? See, that's Googleable.
I suppose so. Yeah. Yeah, that annoys me. Why would you take a perfectly good Doctor Who episode and just like try and keep it to yourself? Unless like maybe there's something wrong with it, like maybe it was cursed.
Ooh.
And so they were actually trying to save it from being broadcast.
What if it was the Doctor?
Oh yeah, maybe this is the thing, is like something about that episode would have unleashed some sort of horrible terror, and so he had to take it. He had to take it and hide it away inside his TARDIS.
Yes.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yep. Just lock it in some kind of dwarf star alloy or whatever. I don't know.
Or it could be the meddling monk.
Oh, could be.
So I've got a question.
Okay.
So Moran?
Yes, I know Moran.
The commanding officer who died in the opening minutes of last week's episode?
Yes.
And Pritchard, the company man?
Yes.
Do you think they were in love?
Right, because they're the only characters who weren't paired off?
Right, because if there were 6 people on this base originally, and, O'Donnell and Bennett were secretly in love.
Right.
And Cass and, what's his name, Lund?
Yeah.
Lund.
Yeah, Lund, right. Lund.
Cass and Lund were secretly in love. So you have to assume.
Yeah, balance of probabilities. I think it has to be. I think they may have had. I envision them like having more of an antagonistic relationship though, where they were kind of always at each other's throats, kind of like I don't know, this is. I don't know if this. I don't think you actually watched the show, so it's not gonna mean anything to you. But like season 1 of Castle.
I watched some of season 1.
Okay. Well, yeah, like they're kind of like at each other's throats, and like there's kind of like this sort of flirting that's going on, but it's mostly just them really, really annoyed at each other.
Well, yeah, and that's a certain kind of will they, won't they?
Yeah.
So it's all just I have to assume that that's what it was like between them because I mean, 6 people, one pairing where 2 of them are secretly in love. That's reasonable.
Yeah.
3 pairings, that's reasonable too. I mean, that's like a Shakespeare play or something. But just 2
right.
And then 2 odd ones out. That doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah, I think it's got to be. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, if so, Pritchard hit it really well. It might have he didn't seem all that broken up when it after the fact.
True.
But that could just be his professionalism.
Well, when we rejoin them, it's been some time.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he's been through his mourning.
Yeah, it's been a few days.
Yeah, that's true.
I think two days, or was it longer? I don't know.
I think
it has been at least a few days.
It's been at least a few days. Yeah, so I think it stands to reason. He's probably just compartmentalizing. He probably when he gets when he finally escapes the space and he's on his own, he'll probably be really, really broken up about it. But he's got to hold it together, just because he can't let this.
Except he dies.
Get to him. Well, he dies. So obviously he can't. That never happens. But I'm assuming that's what his thought process was. He's just going to compartmentalize it, just get through this, and then he can feel bad about it later.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just a professional that way. But it ends up killing him. So.
Yeah, let that be a lesson.
Yeah.
Of some kind.
Yeah, it's important that Doctor Who teaches lessons of some kind.
Doesn't matter what kind.
No. Yeah, what kind is unimportant. Just it only matters that they are taught. Well, and it could be because isn't it Moran's ghost that actually does the killing of Pritchard?
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah, so that could have been the little symbolism right there. Is maybe Moran just really wanted Pritchard to be with him, and so even if it was this kind of hellish afterlife where they could only repeat the same phrase over and over again, he really wanted to be together again, and so this was that.
Wow.
I think it's there Because I mean, like, that's the thing is, like, these other two relationships were sort of hinted at in very subtle ways. I mean, like in last week's episode after the or even during the sort of ghost chase scene in the hallways where they were trapping him, you can see that, like O'Donnell, I don't know, like punches Bennett on the arm, and that's like kind of this like don't scare me like that kind of thing. And there was obviously like Cass was very concerned about Lund's life, and so you could sort of piece that together and say like, oh yeah, yeah, you could see that they care about them. And then so this is obviously just another way for that to come out, and that this was that hint.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's got to be.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we got that. I'm glad we figured it out.
Yeah, I think it's important.
We haven't talked about the Minister of War.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Minister of War. Do you think that's a legitimate, like... Do you think that's, like, a legitimate thing we're going to get discussed by the end of the season? Like, do you think that's going to be the first... This is the first hint of the big bad for the end of this series?
Well, I think it's a hint. I don't know if it's the first one. I mean, it's the first one I picked up on. But
oh, yeah.
There may have been prior hints. But I do think that's going to go somewhere.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is, it could go somewhere, but maybe it's going to go somewhere during Toby Whithouse's tenure as showrunner, which I'm already prepping for.
Well, I mean, could be.
Well, I think because didn't that? I mean, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but that seemed to happen with like Stephen Moffat episodes where some things.
Well, River was the main thing.
River was the main thing, yeah. I can't think if there are any others. I mean, I guess like the Doctor's name was sort of hinted at in the episode with the Madame de Pompadour,
and also in Silence of the Library and Forest of Blood.
Oh yeah,
Forest of the Dead. Not
yes, Forest of the Blood, Forest of the Damned, Forest of the Dead, whatever Blank
of the blank, something of something else.
Yeah. It doesn't fill in your. It's Mad Libs. Yeah, so that those concepts were kind of hinted at, and and there was River. And
the Libs of Madness.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be a good title for a Doctor Who themed Mad Libs book.
Oh my god! And that would get around any, I'm assuming, copyright issues, because I'm assuming Mad Libs is copyrighted.
Yeah, there may actually already be a Doctor Who Mad Libs book. I don't know. And it's probably just called Doctor Who Mad Libs because
probably
because they weren't creative enough.
Right.
You're so uncreative, you have to write half the thing yourself anyway, so.
That's right. So yeah, I think it's definitely going to become significant at some point. I think it has to be.
It could just be like a random thing, like, the army of meanwhiles and neverwheres, or whatnot. But I do think, just a guess. My guess is that it's a significant thing that's going to happen this season.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is could it be? It
could be the War Chief.
All right, the War Chief. That's what I'm thinking. I think it could be. I think it stands to reason. I mean, we got to like condense these down.
Yeah.
It can't be a new villain. It has to be a returning villain.
Well, I mean, I felt like Moffat was not big on the returning villains until the Capaldi era.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, here's Missy, the new incarnation of the Master, and here's Davros.
Yeah. So that's Now we just don't know. But I mean, like, could we really do like a? Can Moffat really get away with like fool me twice? Shame on me. I mean, like, Missy was so close to Master in terms of like naming, and I knew that, and I knew how close it was, and I was like, there's no way it's actually going to turn out to be the Master. That's ridiculous. And then it did turn out to be. So now I can't think that like Moffat would play that game again with the War Chief. I mean, come on.
I don't think anyone remembers the War Chief.
That's what makes it so perfect. Is it could just sneak it right in there.
Yeah, that's not. I don't think the War Chief is probably not worth bringing back.
No, I guess not.
The War Chief was often theorized by fans back in the day that it was the same character as the Master.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know if anyone still thinks that. I mean, it's not like there's been new evidence to the contrary, so
right.
It could very well be, just as valid now as it ever was. But
well,
I just think, there's no real reason for it.
Yeah, and so, but does Does that make sense? Like, because when the Doctor and the Master, when the Master first appears in the classic series, they already know each other, right?
Yes, I think.
Okay.
In the War Games, doesn't the War Chief immediately recognize the Doctor as a Time Lord?
It's been so long since I've seen that episode.
Me too. It's been a while, but I think they immediately recognize one another as Time Lords.
Oh, okay. So
I'm not 100% sure about that, but
so that could be ambiguous. That could be So
I don't know.
Conceivably, that could be the Master. Okay, so I guess we can't bring back the War Chief, or well, we could, but
I mean, they could.
Maybe they already have, because it's missing. But yeah, okay. I do really wonder about this finale. I do really wonder what it's gonna be. I do, but at the same time, I do like these kind of vague hints of things that just never go anywhere. Like, I mean, if it turns out that the Minister of War is just nothing, or is something that gets mentioned maybe more than once, but is just never ever covered, I'm fine with that, because I like the idea of like there's stuff out there that we never see. But I very much doubt, call it what you will, like Chekhov's gun or whatever. I mean, they brought it up, so I'm assuming that it's going to somehow be important later.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could just be something that we, like, it's an adventure the Doctor will end up having, but we'll never know about it.
Yeah.
Like, it could be one of the most important adventures he ever has that we just never know about.
Yeah.
Like, there's a great enemy of the Doctor called the Terrible Zodin, who's only ever mentioned.
Ah.
It never appears.
Interesting. And like even in like extended media?
I don't know about extended media, but I know I think the 6th Doctor mentions the Terrible Zodin, and the 2nd Doctor mentions, I think it's mentions her in the five Doctors, like the Terrible Zodin.
It's kind of great.
They're just mentioned a couple times.
The Terrible Zodin. Huh. Yeah. Well, and I mean, that sounds like a villain. That sounds like someone the Doctor would end up having to stop or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. The Terrible Zodin. Yeah, I think we could afford to have more stuff like that. I had a thought, and I don't remember what it was. I gotta try and recollect it. Can't do it.
Well, I'm sorry.
I know, I'm disappointed. Well, no, it was something to do with the fact that we don't really know what the finale is going to be about. I don't remember how I was going to branch.
We have titles, but that's it.
Yeah,
and I haven't heard anything more than that. And I'm kind of keeping it like I'm keeping myself as spoiler light as I possibly can.
Yeah, and I think that's the way to be.
Like I knew there was an episode with Vikings coming up.
Oh right.
But I didn't know it was the next one. Actually, for some reason I had it in my head that the next one was the Zygon 2-parter.
Oh yeah.
But apparently the next one is the Maisie Williams pseudo 2-parter. Because they're not calling it a 2-parter.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why they're not, but they're not referring to it as a 2-parter. But they both have Maisie Williams in it.
Do they both have the same writer?
No.
Oh, so maybe that's why. I don't know. Like, I mean.
Maybe, or maybe we'll know once we've seen them.
Yeah, maybe is this going to be like another what's it
Utopia?
Called? Utopia.
Yeah, I don't know. People will argue for the next 50 years about whether it's a 2-parter or what. Whatever. Yeah. So the next episode, The Girl Who Died, is by Jamie Matheson and Stephen Moffat. Jamie Matheson being the writer of Mummy on the Orient Express and Flatline. Right, him. Yeah. And then the next one after that is by is The Woman Who Lived by Catherine Tregenna, who has written some episodes of Torchwood.
Interesting.
Some of the better ones, in my opinion.
Right. Okay. Huh. Yeah. So maybe that's why it's not a 2-parter. It's a cooperative 2-parter. It's a co-op.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who could say? But yes, that's interesting. So, like, that's the thing is, like,
I think they may have different settings.
Oh, really? Could it still involve Vikings?
It could. I don't know.
Yeah. Vikings are eternal.
Sure.
Well, these ones seem to be
Vikings got a Vike.
That's right. Yeah. But yeah, well, and that's the thing is, these seem to be some kind of like cyborg space Vikings or something. Who knows?
Could be.
One of them had like that eye patch thing, look kind of weird.
Yeah.
So, I think they might have the so they might have like the ability to, I don't know, travel to different worlds, different times maybe.
Oh, sure, kind of like the pirates from Curse of the Black Spot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Who are still out there.
Yep.
Flying around in the stars. Yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out that Maisie Williams is not a returning character.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I mean...
She has been much speculated about.
Right. I mean, like, who could she really be at this point?
Oh, she could be anyone. She could be Susan. She could be Romana. She could be the Rani. She could be the war chief. She could be the war minister. The Minister of War.
Yeah, I think that stands to reason. You think, yeah. I mean, who knows? Who really knows? That's the thing.
The other big point of speculation is that she's the new companion.
That would be interesting. Like, not a returning character, just that her new role is going to be as the companion.
Yeah.
That seems a little, well, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever actually, because I don't watch the Game of Thrones, and so I don't know. I've never seen her in anything before.
I have seen the first season of Game of Thrones, and she was pretty good.
Oh, well, I mean, So yeah, I'm gonna withhold judgment. I mean, like, I guess I could see her as a companion, but that's gonna be a little interesting, don't you think? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I wouldn't know if it would be interesting until I've seen next week's episode.
I guess that's true. Isn't she still? Well, actually, no. I guess that's probably a huge spoiler. Is she still on? Is she still on that Game of Thrones, or is
I don't know.
Because I imagine, like, I don't know.
Most people die.
I think most people do die. Yeah. I keep telling myself I'm going to get around to watching that show eventually, or reading those books.
I don't think it's anywhere near as good as everyone's always saying it is.
That's the thing, is, like, I kind of want to not like it because of all the hype it gets. But, I mean, that's also, like, terrible. Like, why would I hate something just because everyone else loves it? But, I mean, like, at the same time, I kind of really want to. I don't know.
I just thought it was boring.
Oh, really?
You know what? It reminded me of a Doctor Who episode before the Doctor shows up.
Oh, okay. So maybe Maisie Williams will fit right in there.
Maybe. I don't know. Because for some reason, I kept envisioning, like,
you'd hear, like someone would die or something, and then you'd hear the whatever, like, that sting or whatever the noise is called.
Well, I kept envisioning the TARDIS materializing and Peter Davison walking out. For some reason, it was specifically the Fifth Doctor with Nyssa, Tegan, and Adric.
Oh, okay.
And they would walk out, and I don't know. For some reason, I thought the Fifth Doctor would just sort things out. He just, like, because there's so much, like, so much stuff, like, he just fix it.
All right. Now, well, this is now a crossover I want to say.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I have a habit of like formulating crossovers in my head. Like, I last year I rewatched the anime Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh yeah,
which is my favorite anime, and I just kept envisioning, like, in that case it was the Third Doctor, like the Third Doctor, being, like, just kind of getting thrown into those events and dealing with those people.
Huh. Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, like, that's the thing, is that, like, it's just, like, it's the nature of Doctor Who, where, like, you have this you have this setting. It could be set in, like, the future, the past, wherever. These characters all have their own problems, and they're trying to get through it best they can. And then the Doctor shows up and really, like, fixes everything. And, like, that's such an accessible premise.
Well, and before he fixes it, he throws it into chaos.
That's right. Yes. Right. He flips all the switches he shouldn't flip, and ends up, like, unleashing the monster or whatever.
Right.
And, like, throwing the delicate balance, the delicate, détente into just, like, throwing it completely out the window, and then he's got to fix it from there.
Yeah, I just want to see, like, the 44-minute version of Game of Thrones, starring, I don't know, I guess Peter Davison can come back and do it.
Yeah, no, I would be alright with seeing more Peter Davison Doctor.
Sure, everyone's always saying, "Oh, we need more Paul McGann," and I'm down with that. But why not Peter Davison?
Yeah, why not? I mean, he is clearly as willing to do Doctor Who related things as anyone else.
Yeah, and he's like 2 years older than Capaldi.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, that's the thing, is, he, And and it's not so much of a shock that like, oh, he doesn't really look like he did when he was the Fifth Doctor anymore. But I mean, like, we've seen him enough. We've seen him in Time Crash. We've seen him, just doing other things. The Five-ish Doctors reboot. We've seen him enough where like I think we can just we are collectively ready to embrace a slightly aged Fifth Doctor all over again. I could say.
I mean, I'm used to it from like Big Finish. His voice sounds a lot older. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's fine. I think we're ready. I think we're ready for more Peter Davison. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they could bring back like a past Doctor and have kind of like in Last Christmas where the Doctor has a particular way he views people. Like, because Clara looks young even though she's old.
Oh, yeah.
Like, to the Doctor, though, she always looks the same.
That's right.
So, like, maybe for some reason, like, this is just how the Doctor sees the Fifth Doctor.
Yeah,
as being a lot older for some reason.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that kind of makes sense. It's like, I can't think of what it's like. Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense though, because he's still the same person inside, kind of. Yeah. I mean, so I'm assuming that like his appearance, like, I don't know how it works in like Time Lord psychology, but like I imagine his interior vision of himself must also age, like even when he's like his past selves. Like there must be like a really really old William Hartnell somewhere deep inside of Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
Like a I don't know how old he would be. Like 90? No, probably more. No. What, like 110?
Sure.
Something. Yeah, there's like a 110-year-old William Hartnell somewhere inside Peter Capaldi. I think it's got to be.
Yeah.
And then this is the thing is somehow the Master in the Sound of Drums / whatever it was able to suspend all of his whatever the Doctor's regeneration, whatever that was, whatever that was,
right? Turn him into a shriveled old,
right?
Yeah,
yeah. Maybe he should have been like a shriveled William Hartnell. I don't know. I mean,
that
would have been really confusing though for a lot of fans.
I think it would have.
but yeah. So I think along those same lines. The Doctor, like all the previous regenerations of the Doctor, must just keep aging. If we were to somehow flip back, I think they would just keep aging. Like Colin Baker would have gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
It's just all these. Yeah. It's like what it would have been had he not regenerated.
Mm-hmm.
I think it stands to reason.
How are you feeling about the sonic glasses?
I like how they continue to get more and more ridiculous. Where he like. Just jams one of the frames, like part of the frame into the console, and it does a thing. Because I mean, the premise of like the sonic screwdriver somehow being able to interface with all these different with all these different systems, like that was ridiculous enough. And now I feel like they're really owning it, where it's just like, yeah, this is really dumb. There's no reason that this should make sense, but let's just do it this way.
Yeah, the more I see people who don't even watch the show anymore complaining on Tumblr about, there's sonic glasses now, it's so stupid. Like, the more I love it.
Right.
I just love it. I do love the sonic glasses, and I'm glad they're on the show.
Yeah. I think that they are a valuable part. And I mean, like, what I've seen is like people saying like, oh, well, the sonic screwdriver's coming back, and I'm thinking to myself like, well, I don't know that. I don't know that at all.
I think it probably will sometime.
I'm sure that it will. Yeah,
but I don't know if it's coming back anytime soon.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I do. I think that the sonic sunglasses are just goofy enough that they fit right in with Doctor Who. I mean, I just think like, yeah, I just think it's because why not? And I mean, like, I was thinking, something was sticking in my mind, which was that like the sonic screwdriver. Yeah. So the sonic screwdriver drives screws.
Sure.
Or theoretically it can, using sonic waves or whatever. And so like, because I mean like a normal screwdriver it also drives screws, but it doesn't necessarily have to. It's not like limited to that.
No.
Like you can have a sonic screwdriver, or no, not a sonic screwdriver. You can have a regular screwdriver, and you can have it like, if it's like a flathead, you can have it like pry open like a lid.
Absolutely.
Or something. I mean, like, that's,
Who's stopping you?
Nobody's stopping you. That's the thing. And so like, I mean, if you have like maybe like a Phillips head screwdriver would be useful, like as like a, I don't know, like a chisel or something, maybe. I don't know. I haven't worked this out yet, but like, so you can there are different applications for this tool, but the principle remains the same. And so like, the sonic screwdriver is working, is achieving its purpose using sonic whatever. And I guess the one thing that did bother me about the sonic sunglasses was that like they're sonic, but are they repelling light using sound waves? And like it bothered me, but then I realized like, oh, they must be. There must just be some way that the sonic sunglasses are powered by are not like, they're not like using like a UV filter on like on pieces of glass like we're used to. They must just be repelling sunlight or any light using sound waves. I mean, I think that must be it.
Really?
I think it's got to be.
I just assumed they were a pair of normal sunglasses that had been like souped up with like Google Glass type sonic technology.
I don't know. I think the only way it can really, I think in order for them to be perfect analog and for them to be a permanent part of the show is that like, I think they got to actually work that way. I don't know. That's my headcanon anyway. I guess it could very well be that they are just a normal pair of sunglasses that just also happen to be sonic, which is fine. But I would prefer it if they actually repelled sunlight somehow using the principles of sonic whatever. I don't know. This is in my world. If the sonic sunglasses are here to stay, I want to write like a fanfic where I explain all this. I think it's going to be important, but I don't see why not. And I mean, like, there's nothing to refute it. Also, I think there's precedent because in the episode I really don't like, which is Planet of the Dead. Well, there's a bunch, but I mean, Planet of the Dead in this case, the Doctor does something to his normal glasses using the sonic screwdriver to make them sunglasses. And so,
yeah, sure.
So I think there has to be a sonic component to sunglasses already. Like, don't you think? Like, the sonic screwdriver should not have been able to do that if there weren't some inherent sonic component to UV protection, I think. I'm going to say that this has to be this. I think it's baked in here.
I think it's canon.
I think it's gotta be.
I'm ordinarily not a believer in canon and Doctor Who, but this may well be it.
This is the thing. This is the one thing that can be canon.
And this is our starting point.
All right.
This is the building block.
Yeah, and from here we can work out all the rest of it.
Exactly.
All right.
First principles.
Yeah, that's how that works.